Fans, and welcome to another proud broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield. So great to have you with us tonight as we begin yet another new chapter in VirtualRacing.Network's historic coverage. This time, tonight it is the NORA Truck Series 2023. It's Season 5, Race 3 of 26. 135 laps around the historic Atlanta Motor Speedway in virtual Atlanta, Georgia, USA. It's a 1.54 miler, kind of unlike others. This one's super fast. We are looking forward to it tonight, and it is so great to have you with us as we get set for what should be an absolutely thrilling race. Now, tonight, I am joined by none other than Christian Snyder, one of the best in the business to call the race. Christian, so great to have you with us, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about what we're going to be looking at tonight in Atlanta.
Yeah, pleasure being here. Tonight is going to be a pretty brisk 65 degrees out there, which is the lowest iRacing can go. So it's going to be pretty grippy, clear skies with 8-mile-per-hour wind, and like you said, it's a 1.52 mile quad oval. So it's going to be a great show, especially with the plate racing aspect that this track now brings.
Absolutely. It's a plate type track out there now, 2 wide, 3 wide racing. We've seen so much high speed gambling to see what is the best place to be at the end of one of these races, but also we've seen a lot of cautions. That might be part of the story here tonight. We'll get to more of that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and talk about the Truck Series standings after 2 races. Take it away, Christian.
Yeah, last season's champion, Ryan Jones, already off to a great start this season. He's already leading the points. And Nick Geilis, our Daytona winner, second there, followed by Timothy Harper, longtime racer in this league. Jason Conover, the league owner's brother, is actually up there top of the board for his, I believe, second place finish at Daytona. So a lot of good names to look after here. You got Josh Conover, obviously the owner, down in 11th. He's got some ground to make up. Just a lot of mixed strategies going to be played tonight to try to gain points, especially with these stages now.
Of course, we do have the stages coming up, and that's part of the racing. Certainly one of the things that you do have to be aware of. So we have stage 1 at 30 laps in, stage 2 at 60 laps in. We'll get a chance to talk more about some of that race strategy coming up. But of course, in order to race, you must first qualify, Christian. And that's what these drivers are doing right now, heading out there onto the track. So let's go ahead and send it down trackside, be able to pick up the action on the track right now. It looks like Sean Briscoe so far out there putting in his fast lap. We got most of the field out there choosing to go early on. Brady Moats, Torrent Shirts, Mark Bremkamp out there, Jacob Givens, a lot of these drivers heading out there to set their fast times, and yet still a number of these drivers still choosing to sit in the pits and wait it out for the end of the session. You think there's any strategy to that tonight, Christian?
I don't think the track's going to change temperature at all, so I don't know why not go out early. I think it's as cold as it's going to get right now. So I don't know if there's a benefit to staying in the pits right now, but there's going to be a mixture. You're going to see some guys going real fast, and then you're going to see these weird times that are real slow, and that's by choice. These guys put slow times so that they can start in the back on purpose.
Absolutely. Well, starting the back in purpose, trying to avoid maybe some carnage at the beginning of the race. All of this is part of your strategy out there. But either way, Jason Brewer for SS Motorsports setting a fast time there. Sean Briscoe, who we just had the camera on there for Capital Motor Club, putting in a great time, 32.07 there in the second lap, or in his first lap, excuse me. He still has one more to go. Timothy Harper For Harper Motorsports, he won in the Cup Series last week and looking good so far for Trucks this week in second place. Right now, fifth fastest for Trevor White for Kingdom Motorsports. Fellow Trevor out there. I don't get to see that too much, so somebody to actually root for. Mark Bremkamp for BS Motorsports putting in fourth fastest time as we flash over to him. Tyler Dixon also out there, 12th fastest time. And just like that, he was so fast in the Cup Series last week, and I think he wants some redemption. For Flatline Motorsports, it's Vincent Arthur putting in the second fastest time thus far, and he's going to cruise around here on the second lap. I think he's pretty happy with that first one.
Yeah, Vincent Arthur, very familiar with winning in this league. He has a lot of wins from last season in both the Cup and Trucks, so he's looking to get some wins this season again.
So we've got Josh Conover, of course, the owner of the NORA Cup and Truck Series, out there putting in a very, very slow second lap, coming to a stop there, and actually not even getting in a time. Blade Timmons also not yet setting a time, but he looks like he's on it, so he is going to try to set one. We'll see. He's just coming to his very first lap here. Get to him in just a moment, as it looks like Matthew George finishing up his very first lap, actually kind of cruising himself. So some of these drivers really choosing to just take their foot out of it and not put in a very fast lap, but Blade Timmons not going to be scared to do so here tonight, and he's got about another 2/3 of this lap to go.
I don't want to be speculating, but I was told from Josh that these drivers aren't allowed going below the red line in qualifying, and yeah, as you just saw there, Blade very low underneath the red line. So these guys use real life rules, and in real life you're not allowed cutting the quad oval, so I don't know how Josh is going to handle this, but yeah.
Well,
interesting right there.
And would there be a chance, is there traditionally in this league a chance for a live administration penalty to be happening and possibly send him to end along the line?
It's very possible, but the live administrators, they don't see qualifying laps, so it's going to be difficult. But if he happens to be have the broadcast open, he will issue a penalty.
So more than likely, not a penalty, and it would be applied afterwards if it's applied at all. But we'll wait to see. Yeah. And we'll wait to see, because, again, we're speculating that there will be a penalty applied. But as you point out, the drivers do have to stay above that line. So either way, we will go over the grid as it is given to us here. And it'll pop up there in a second. There we go. So go ahead and take us through tonight's lineup for round number 3 at Atlanta, Christian.
Yeah, starting on pole, that 39 is Sean Briscoe. Second, Blade Timmons as of right now. Jacob Gladich in third. Vincent Arthur, fourth. Timothy Harper, fifth. Jason Brewer, sixth. Mark Bremkamp, seventh. Trevor White, 8th, Martin Plute, 9th, and Ryan Jones, last year's champion, starting 10th. 11th is Andrew Staub, Cody Dorsey starting beside him. Torn Shirts, 13th, Jacob Gibbons, 14th. David McGuire starting 15th, Tyler Dixon, 16th. 17th, Cody Reeder, Todd Slauson in 18th, Zach Hollinger, 19th, and Jonathan Doherty in 20th. And you got Cody Height in 21st, Corey Danielson 22nd, Christopher Heights 23rd, Michael Steele 24th, Corey Raboyne, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, I'm sorry if I butchered it, 25th, Jason Conover 26th, Shane Weimiller 27th, Todd Schneider 28th, Keegan Bitzer 29th, Brady Notes 30th, and Josh Conover 31st, with Jason O'Connor, Matthew George, I apologize, 32nd, and Nick Eilis 33rd, and rounding out your field is Jason O'Connor in the 34th spot.
34 going to be starting here tonight, and as you said, this is going to be so close on this track that, I mean, of course you could fit them 3 wide, but it being basically a plate track out there. These cars doing such a high speed that it's inches apart, and any wrong moves will send part of this field spinning out of control and possibly damaging their race cars to a great extent. So either way, these drivers have to be super careful to get this one underway and make sure that they don't make any mistakes whatsoever. Really, this is a touchy type of track. This isn't Talladega. This isn't Daytona, where you've got lots and lots of room and lots of types of corners that are of the banking that you can kind of let the car kind of cruise around. This track, high banking, much smaller track, 1.5 miles. I mean, this is going to test the limits of these drivers.
Yeah, those Daytona and Talladega tracks, they're 2.5 miles or more. This is only 1.5. So these guys are going to be real tight in the corners, not very wide either. We might see 3, but mostly 2 widers.
Well, either way, we've got a heck of a lineup set up for tonight. Vincent Arthur and Sean Briscoe on that front row. Some great talent in the field. We look forward to seeing a lot of side-by-side action, perhaps some bumps, some rubs, some scrapes, and either way, we're about to kick it all off right now. The NORA Truck Series 2023 is about to kick off here at Atlanta. It'll be Sean Briscoe taking us to the green flag, and we're underway here at Atlanta. Already starting to break apart here. You can see some drivers starting to slot in. Vincent Arthur there holding in to the second position as he's managed to get around. And now it looks like we've got Jason Brewer up a couple of positions. I think a couple of drivers having to slow up there on that first opening part of this lap. So we'll have to find out more about that, but it looks like Martin Flute dropping a couple of positions.
Oh, real close there.
Very close.
With, Vincent Arthur.
And we're 3 wide here in the 4th row. And we've got already a caution. We've had an incident, and it looks like it's Tyler Dixon who's involved. We've got Michael Scheel, Shane Weinmeiler.
Yeah, that's big damage. That might be
Corey Danielson. Yeah, just a number of cars involved in this one. We're going to have to back it up and take a look at that. My goodness me, that somebody's going to be paying a lot of money for that one. We're already racking up some expensive repair bills. Let's go ahead and take a look, and we can see what happens to Tyler Dixon, perhaps from overhead. Might be the best way to take a look at it. See if that will give us a good shot. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit close. Oh, he does get help from behind. I believe that's Steele who gets into him, and carnage ensues. My goodness. We'll see if we can tell from Michael Scheel's point of view what took place on that caution, and maybe we'll get a better idea of exactly how things came together here. But this was from his point of view. That's actually Tyler Dixon's point of view. We'll go back and take a look here at Scheel's point of view in just a moment.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see is he got help. He got turned there. Just couldn't lift in time to get into the corner. And they just all start stacking up, and oh, man.
Just
hard hit for Michael Steele.
Absolutely hard hit. I say it every time. These drivers do take a hard hit. You know, some of these are direct drive wheels. You really got to be careful. You got to get your hand off of the wheel lest it snap back on you. But you can see Michael Scheel sitting there in the pits. We've got a number of drivers who Jason Conover just popped out. Cody Reedy now taking taking his pit stop. Guylis now taking a pit stop, and you see a number of cars sitting on pit road. Tyler Dixon, of course, he had quite a hit. Zach Hollinger, Shane Weinmiller, Josh Conover, perhaps involved in that wreck as well. So a lot of these drivers, I see that, yes, Corey Danielson involved, Blake Timmons. So really an early one that affects a large part of the mid-pack of this field. And really unfortunate to see that happen, Christian, because we were really hoping this one could stay green for a while. But they'll recover, and in the meantime, we'll watch on here as these drivers get set for coming back. And how do you, Christian, you drive quite a lot in these cars. It's been a little while, but how do you recover when you see this kind of thing happen after just a couple of laps? You're all set to get this one underway, and you want it to go green. What kind of things are you going to be doing as a driver to try to refocus and reset yourself?
Mainly just take a deep breath and kind of reset. It's kind of hard to reset once you get going, but with these guys, they know how to do this. They're going to get back going and get into a groove, hopefully, and we're going to see a lot of green flags. It's early. A lot of these guys are new to the league, and they're meshing with all these veterans of the league, and we're going to see it hopefully smooth out and be green for the rest of this thing.
Oh my goodness. That would be something else to see this stay green for that long. But certainly you see Jason Conover there return to the track. You see a number of cars. Shane Weinmiller, too bad for him, still sitting there on pit road. Josh Conover, owner of the league, as well as Michael Shields, still sitting there on pit road as well. So their days are certainly changed, but we will be going green once again this time by. So Sean Briscoe will get his chance again for the Capital Motor Club. And Jacob Gladelich up there for the JRC Racing team, he's already up a position on that start. And it does look like possibly there might have been a penalty applied. I'm not sure for Blake Timmons.
Yeah, from what I see, he dropped to the back. But what you're seeing right now, these guys have. Oh, I'm sorry, they're going green already.
We're green already.
I missed it. Yeah,
that's okay. Jacob Gladelich dropping all the way down to fourth and kind of stacking things up. But it's Sean Briscoe who's not having any trouble at all. We'll look from the gearbox on Sean out the back, and he's looking. It's looking pretty good. He's got about a 5-6 car length lead. That should close up here pretty soon, given this draft, which is pretty predominant here at Atlanta. And indeed, here goes Vincent Arthur by on that high side. He's having no trouble whatsoever. Got Jason Brewer and Jacob Gladelich in tow. Now we're side by side once again here, row by row from the beginning on back. Somebody trying to make it 3 wide, getting all the way out into the wall. I believe it's Jacob Gladelich, in fact. It is. He's having a little bit of trouble.
What a save.
Fantastic save for the 14 car, getting it back together there, but he's going to have to regroup. In the meantime, back up front, Sean Briscoe looking good. Back to Jason Brewer just behind. Andrew Staub now back up into third place. He's up 8 positions so far, so navigating this field wisely. And Trevor White now into 4th place. He's up 4 positions. Vincent Arthur has now slid all the way back to 5th, so that lets you know how much it is, how much you can get eaten up and destroyed here at this track in the matter of just a half a lap. Arthur and Schertz now racing side by side for that 4th and 5th spot. Kremkamp and McGuire just behind, also racing side by side. And it looks like these drivers are not done yet, as we're getting very racy here. This has got to be a kind of nervous city when you see these cars dancing all over the track so early on, Christian.
Yeah, they don't look very glued down. I thought it would be kind of a grippy race, and these trucks would be glued down, but they look very loose right now.
Definitely, as we watch on board from Vincent Arthur's point of view in his Chevy for Flatline Motorsports, it is anything but glued down and on rails. These trucks are just dancing around out there. I think we've got these cars exchanging positions so fast that on my timing and scoring, it looks almost like crashes are happening. But in fact, we're going side by side, multiple rows back. It's looking almost like the start, the way that they've reformed up here at the front of the field. It's Sean Briscoe, Trevor White, your front two, now racing side by side. You can see right behind them, not even a paper between them. It's Jason Brewer and Vincent Arthur sitting in 3rd and 4th. Just behind them, David McGuire, Andrew Staub now sitting just behind. And this is, I mean, we're side by side, 7 rows deep here.
Yeah, and you can see the outside lanes starting to get gathered up a little bit better. So I'm curious if, just like in real life, that middle to top lane is going to be the predominant lane.
That is a good question, and certainly we know that may work some favorable tricks on your tires and dealing with tire degradation as well on that outer groove, but it also gives you that slingshot, a little bit faster run off of the corner. As you said, as you get a little bit more help there coming from behind, might be able to push you forward and really get that outside lane working. And I think that's what we're trying to see if that's going to come up right now, because you see Trevor White now for Kingdom Motorsports. He inches ahead there in that number 15 car. So very quickly, you're seeing a driver that came all the way from 8th place all the way up into first now. Trevor White, your leader, but Sean Briscoe marching back on that inside. It doesn't look like there's exactly a favored position, but yeah, as you said, these trucks are dancing around out there, and now Trevor sliding backwards with a little wiggle.
I'm in the booth and my heart rate's up. I wonder how these drivers feel with all these trucks dancing around right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, I had a chance the other day to do a truck race.
Spinning.
We got one spinning in the back. I think it's Bremkamp, and it is. He's going through the infield. Bremkamp for BS Motorsports gets it collected, and he is back underway.
He just got loose out of 4 all on his own there. So these trucks obviously a very hard handful.
Taking a look at Bremkamp. Oh, he gets down onto that white line there at the apex, and he had to collect it. As you said, you don't want to go below that line anyway. It's especially in the corners, but if you do it on the straight, not allowed. So they were doing it on iRacing in the official series. So a little bit different rules here in the league.
We almost had another moment there. Todd Slauson getting on the apron, gets a little bit loose. That paint down there, it's like I don't know what you would call it. Maybe greased up. Those tires have no traction whenever you get on that red line. So these guys got to watch out for that.
Absolutely, like ice, like glass. You got to watch it. These trucks are just sliding around anyway, but you get it on that white line in the corner and you lose even more grip. And it might be just around you go. But some of these drivers just crazy enough to make it 3 wide here in the field occasionally, which says that they are finding enough grip and they do believe in their machines well enough to try to make it 3 wide, but it's still scary stuff to watch them try because this track is not as wide as it seems. Either way, Sean Briscoe continuing to lead here for the Capital Motor Club. He's doing a fine job just in front of Jason Brewer. And then Vincent Arthur and Andrew Stab side by side there in that 3rd row. And just behind them, Martin Clute now taking a little bit of an advantage over Andrew Stab. And just behind them, Torrance Schurz, Trevor White, David McGuire, Corey Raboyne, and Jacob Vladelich. That's your top 10 at the moment, but as we've said, that can change in 2 shakes of the lamb's tail. Whatever you want to say. I mean, it could change in a blink of an eye as these drivers are finding new lines and new ways to get by each other every single lap. Sean Briscoe still in the lead, though. I feel like, oh my goodness, he gets down below that yellow line. That was Jason Brewer just behind. He's playing with fire there.
3 wide.
We are 3 wide for 2nd place. Arthur, Brewer, and Clute now side by side trying to fight this one out. He's got a little bit of help coming there in the way of the 2 machine from Martin Clute. And you can see Vincent Arthur using that draft to his advantage on board. We see how close that Vincent Arthur gets. The camera actually dealing with the near plane issue, but either way, Arthur doing a heck of a good job to take over the lead there in the number 3 for Flatline Motorsports. And we've got David McGuire now having an off track. He's sliding somewhere. There he goes through the infield.
And another save. He's going to get back going and catch on to the tail end here.
I wonder if we take a look at this, are we going to see the exact same thing? We are. It is almost a carbon copy. Just do not get down on that line. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. David McGuire going to have to recover from that one. And in the meantime, this front group is still about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 strong, about 13 strong in this front group here. And Arthur,
you can see that. Oh, sorry, you can see a group behind them that's just kind of staying single file and making sure they stay away from this. And their strategy is just to survive. But everyone up in this top 12, they're racing for stage points because we're coming 10 to go in the stage. So these guys are trying to get as much points as they can.
absolutely. It's always something to consider with those stage points, and a good reason if you're close to the front to try to stay up there or try to get the pass done and get a little bit closer up there so you get a little bit more points. But I tell you what, Briscoe not willing to settle for second place. He's going to give it everything he can to try to get first in his first stage. Vincent Arthur, as I mentioned before, you know, I don't know if you were watching last Tuesday, Christian.
Oh, we've
got one around. Is it Snyder? I believe it is. Snyder now sideways. And we've got Jacob Gibbons, I believe, also involved.
Yeah, very hard hit for the 20, and he's done for the race. He went airborne, got into the catch fence. That's unfortunate for him. Gonna park it early.
Unfortunate for Gibbons, but it will make some spectacular footage for us. We look now to see what happened to Gibbons. The two make contact, and Gibbons gets up into the catch fence, and I don't think that's how it would exactly work in real life, but that was some pretty dramatic stuff. Let's see if we can watch it one more time from on board. Just it might look a little comical, but
yeah,
here we go.
He defied physics there.
Car somehow went backward at high
almost
speed.
Cleared it. He dove down, almost cleared it, but just barely.
Well,
that's unfortunate.
Definitely unfortunate. Funny for us to watch, however, not so funny for these drivers to have to deal with. Here's Snyder trying to deal with that spin afterwards, and not quite able to save it. Brings it down there onto the apron. Well, that's going to send a lot of these drivers down pit lane. We've got Vincent Arthur, Martin Flute, Brady Moats, Corey Raboyne, David McGuire, Tyler Dixon, Cody Reeder, Zach Hollinger. All these drivers now coming down into the pits to take their service. And that will actually leave Briscoe, Staub, White, Schertz, Brewer, Gladelich, Slauson, Harper, Heights, and Bitzer, your top 10 that stayed out there. And this is an interesting decision to make at this point. What's your take on this at lap 24, Christian?
Well, like I said earlier, there's two different strategies. There's going for stage points, and then there's going for the race win. And if you're going for stage points, you want to stay out right here, and obviously try to start as close to the front as you can. But if you're going for that race win, get the tires now so you can stay out at the end of the stage here. We know there's going to be another caution in about 5 laps. So why not just pit, take tires, ride in the back, save those tires, and then not pit at the stage, and then you'll start up front.
Well,
but something I did want to mention, these guys do a choose cone. I don't know if you knew this. They do a choose cone for every restart. And the way they do it, as you'll see coming up here, they go into turn 1 and they use the blue cone on the backstretch. If you go inside of it, that's your inside lane. If you go outside, that's your outside lane.
There you go. Something new that these drivers do have a choice of as far as their strategy. And do you think there's a preferred strategy? Does it depend on the type of track? Is it just your personal preference?
Yeah, it really depends on the type of track, because with this type of track, you want to know who's behind you, who's pushing, and you typically want to be in the same lane as somebody you know races well. So as you can see, they're splitting the whole field here. A lot of people stayed on the bottom toward the front, so people thinking the bottom is going to maybe be the way to go. But these guys are getting ready to go green here as they come through 3.
Absolutely about to reset and go green. And it will be Sean Briscoe who will bring us back to that green flag. We've got Trevor White and Jake Gladelich, Andrew Staub, Timothy Harper, and Torrin Schertz there just following up, and just about 5 more laps to go until we get to that first stage win. Who will it be for the first stage? Will it be Briscoe? Will it be White or someone else? They're all stacked up and ready to go, and we're back underway. Briscoe with a phenomenal start once again.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get too far out there. We saw last time that the 3 of Vincent Arthur flew around him like he was sitting still. So you're going to see the same thing here with Trevor White getting help from the injury. He's going to just go right around Sean.
So we will watch that happen. Here comes Trevor White. He makes his approach.
He chose to stay behind him.
Interesting. Perhaps a little bit of positioning here for the end of this stage, just trying to figure out whether you want to be out there by yourself, a sit and duck, or not. Here we go, getting 3 wide in the middle of this pack, and we see a couple of cars dancing around in there.
Yeah, Gladich looking to the outside and kind of wants to start that 3rd lane, but thinks better of it there.
And I would agree. It's not quite the end of the race yet, not quite time to start pushing that 3rd lane if you don't have to. A lot of bad things can happen, especially with these trucks. But I had a lot of fun here racing, going 2 wide, and as soon as somebody decided to go 3 wide, that was usually the end of that. And, we're all sitting in caution for a while. So we'll watch to see who's going to make that decision. Somebody's trying 3 wide back here. I think it's Brian Jones who's trying to get through in the Brian Powell Motorsports machine. Manages to get through. That's up to 12 for him. But back up front, no problems for Briscoe with White on the outside, Schurz and Staub just behind. Still 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Nobody can escape anyone else. We've got one more lap here until the end of the first stage.
Yeah, pits are closed, and there's 1 to go here. I think you're going to see it get 3 wide here coming off of 4. You can see Brian Jones has a run toward the back here. See how this happens here. Jacob looking to the outside. I think Briscoe easily going to win this stage here.
Briscoe will win the stage. It'll be Trevor White in 2nd, Staub in 3rd. And that will be the end of the first stage with Briscoe, White, and Staub, Schurz, and Harper, your top 5 from that first stage. And well played to all of those drivers, including Briscoe. But White choosing to pull up behind Briscoe there to try to, I don't know, try to position himself, make sure that he didn't just blow by Briscoe and leave himself a sitting duck. Pretty good stuff from him. Either way, we're going to jump to a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. You're watching VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the NORA Truck Series 2023. And welcome back here to Atlanta, where things continue to shake up. You saw a number of the leaders coming into the pits there while we were under caution for this first stage. And Martin Flute, David McGuire, Zach Hollinger, Vincent Arthur, a number of these drivers staying out there, choosing to not take on new tires or fuel. And you believe that most of the leaders that were at the front of that pack, they did choose to take 4 tires, right, Christian?
Yeah, I believe they took 4 tires before the end of the stage and now stay out here. And the people directly behind them, I think everybody who just pit all took 4 tires except for a few guys toward the back just topping off on fuel.
So some strategy in play. These drivers have had a chance to kind of feel out the track, feel the trucks out for the first stage. But Martin Flute up 8 positions thus far in today's race. He's going to lead us back to the green flag. And he steps on that loud pedal. We are back underway here at Atlanta.
It wasn't that long ago we saw David McGuire spinning through the infield. Now he's in second place with strategy.
Just goes to show you, if you keep your head down, stay focused, recover, anything can happen. And these drivers now start to shake it out there for second, third, fourth, and fifth. We're seeing still some 2x2 action between Arthur and Hollinger, Brady Motes and Sean Briscoe. Briscoe all the way back up into 6th. He's all the way down in 13th after that pit stop.
Yeah, and you can see with Flute getting that great start that he did, Vincent able to use the draft to just drive by him like he's sitting still. I think that's going to be a big story of the day.
Absolutely. This draft is just absolutely monster here. 178, 180 miles an hour, all the way up to 180 plus miles per hour heading into the corners here tonight. And that is some serious speed, around 1.5 miles for these trucks. So this kind of draft is not something that you see typically at these 1.5 miles. Just the level of banking and the paving here at Atlanta allowing these drivers to really see some awesome speed and some great drafting action. As you see Arthur and Flute now, Flute making a move. A little scary there, but Flute either way, he's going to maneuver that car back up into the front. So Flute now into the lead. Vincent Arthur in second, McGuire in third, Motes in fourth, Schertz in fifth. That is your current top 5, but it keeps changing so fast I don't even know where to begin. If you're out there watching right now, feel free to say hello. We're so grateful that you're joining us here a beautiful Monday night. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting on. And this is the start of a new era here at VirtualRacing.Network, so make sure you subscribe. If not already subscribed, give us a good like on this video. We'll know that you're out there watching. And in the meantime, we're just going to try to keep up with what's happening here because this lead's changing so fast. Flute now in the lead. Brady Motes, who was running great in the Cup Series race at Phoenix last week as well. He's up there into second place at the moment. Arthur all the way back to third, and Briscoe now back up into that fourth position.
Yeah, Vincent Arthur and Martin Flute swapped speed, I think, 4 or 5 times in one lap. And that's just the product of those two. They aren't happy with second. They will go for the lead any chance they get.
So we watch on here as Flute for Blade Timmons Racing is now in charge. We've got to make it to lap number 60 before we get to the end of the second stage, and that's really where everyone's focus is going to be at. Just kind of positioning yourself, not wanting to get too much trouble before we get to that stage number 2 end. But certainly, as you saw, these drivers will be jockeying to get the most amount of points they can at the end of that stage. And they'll also be thinking about that long-term picture of, lap 135. How do we get to the right place to win the whole thing? So whether you're going to take the stage victory or you're going to play it loose and try and take the overall victory, you got to think about where you want to be, when you want to be, and when you want to make that move.
Yeah, there's a caution before stage 2. I think you're going to see a lot of guys who are running for the championship stay out to try to get those stage points. But the guys who aren't running for the championship, who are just here strictly for wins, you're going to see them pit and do the same thing that they did here in stage 1 and be able to stay out for the final stage.
that's the key strategy. You heard it right there from Christian Snyder, and we'll see how it all plays out here tonight. Either way, these drivers really behaving themselves at this point. I mean, we saw a quick caution, we saw a couple of quick spins, but I think as these drivers have gotten used to these trucks, how they're going to handle at full speed with all of the other trucks around them, I think all of a sudden we're starting to see some great respect out there, and these drivers treating these trucks with the level of care that they need to really get through this. Either way, it is Plute, Arthur, Moats, McGuire, Briscoe, your top 5 shirts, Remkamp, Staub, White, and Slauson, your top 10. And Plute trying so desperately to get it done. The number 3 for Arthur and the number 2 for Plute on the outside. Battling it out here as Brady Moats gives it everything he has, racing for Brian Powell Motorsports as well. So we've got 3 Fords in the top 5 here. First, third, and fourth. And I don't know if that says anything about anything, but I think if you're a Ford driver out there, you're a proud moment for you to have 3 of the top 4 be Ford marked. But Chevy is where it's at if you're the rest of the field. Orange shirts, Vincent Arthur, one of the Chevy drivers, got orange shirts, Staub, Briscoe, Bermkamp. We've got a few cars.
Trouble.
Oh my goodness, we've got Dixon involved. We've got Raboyne involved in that number 7 truck. And
that started with a bump gone wrong at the front of the field. Martin Plute went high, and then the entire field stacked up behind them.
Well, we'll take a look back here, and we'll see if we can jump on board with Raboyne there in that 7 machine and see if we can tell exactly what took place. This on board with him. See the action starting in front. You see some major contact from that number 7 machine. Lots of smoke and crash about, and lots of, oh my goodness, so much damage. These owners are going to be so upset with these drivers. So we'll take another look here one more time. This time, so you believe that it began there with Moats, and we'll take a look.
It was just like maybe a little bump, possibly, that he bumped Martin, checked up, and then the entire field checked up behind him. You can see just a melee from about 10 going back.
Well, I do wonder what caused that moment from Moats. So let's see if we back it up here and take a look, if we can tell. Oh, there.
Got into the wall in front of him.
Indeed. That was the number 2 car that got into the wall in front, and so I'm not quite sure what caused him to get into the wall. We'll have to see if we can back it up and take a look here for Martin Plute. On board with him, he just get it a little bit high. He's kind of drifting back here on that outside line.
I think it already happened at this point.
I see. So this is what caused it, was that he was suffering a little bit and getting a little bit further back there, and that stacked up the field, as you said. So he runs into the wall there as he's racing side by side, tags it right there on entry into the corner. That's why I was a little confused. You don't normally tag the wall on entry to the corner, so I don't think he got forced up there. He just didn't quite make the arc well.
It almost looked like he got loose right on the exit of the quad over and chased it up.
Now we have a chance to actually look at the cockpit view here. I wonder if we do that, whether or not we'll get an idea of what's happening here.
Hard to see. He's chasing that thing.
Yeah, absolutely chasing.
He didn't take tires on this stage, so he has a little bit older tires, so that might have been a factor in that.
Well, and unfortunately, it does look like Raboyne is going to be. Oh, is he done?
Yeah, he has taken it behind the wall.
He has, in fact, taken it behind the wall. Sad end to Corey's day. He was having such a great run, one of our independents in the field. Too bad for him getting caught up in that mess, but he'll recover for our next race. And in the meantime, you see Dorsey also sitting there on pit lane taking repairs at the moment. Jason Brewer He was one of those cars that was involved. Now back together again. I see that Keegan Bitzer, Tyler Dixon, Jason Brewer, all of these cars were involved in that wreck, and a number of others. Seeing some notes here on Shane Weinmiller. Take a look here and see if I can tell to just come to a slowdown action crash. Oh, wow. Oh, he does. He goes sideways, and Weinmiller puts it into the wall. And with that, Weinmiller hit so hard it blinked him out for a moment, and he's sitting there with damage. This is just moments ago, and he's got all kinds of damage to that car. So we go to the live picture, and you can tell is Weinmiller still going around with the smoking FedEx number 11 there. So fortunate for him, but we're about to get this one back underway here momentarily. Vincent Arthur for Flatline Motorsports steps on that loud pedal, and we are back underway here at Atlanta for stage number
2. You can see Vincent Arthur, he's miles ahead practically of the field. So I think, again, you're going to see the draft be a factor, and these guys are going to catch him very quick and possibly.
McGuire in second there, and he's making a dive down to that inside. Shirt as well, already stacking up here. This is getting some, just like he said, my heart's in my throat, and I'm just sitting here in the broadcast booth. This is something else to watch. These drivers have to figure this one out. I tell you what, though, it gets so competitive up towards the front. It's one thing to be sitting back there at, say, 20th place. You got a little bit more time to respond to things if you're not trying to push the envelope. You can see some of these drivers, a little bit more room around them back here. 17th, 18th place with Cody Reeder's running. Brady Motes is now, Nick Eilis. All these drivers back here just kind of waiting it out. But up at the front, if you want to play with these guys in the front, you have got to be on your toes, and your heart's racing 1,000 miles an hour. Just trying to stay up with it. We got a driver that's on the high side there. I think that was possibly McGuire.
23 of McGuire, yeah. And he's got damage on the left side, so I think that's a factor. He's just going to take it to the back of the field here.
So McGuire with that damage. Now cruising to the back. Again, another one of our independents in the field. But hey, Vincent Arthur, he's no independent. He's running for Flatline Motorsports. He's doing a heck of a job up there leading this race. Second place right now, Torrin Shirts for BS Motorsports. Giving it a great run. He's come up the grid 11 spots from where he started, and he's making it look really good out there. Torrin doing a fantastic effort for BS, and now going to that outside line. He's going to try to take that run around the outside, Christian, and he's maybe got a little bit of help out there.
Yeah, that was a risky move doing that in the middle of the corner. The wheel gets really light whenever you try to jump high in the middle of the corner. So great move by him, and he's going to get a big shove here. Get around Vincent on the outside, get even with him here off 2.
Just coming off of turn 2, they're side by side about 10 rows deep, and it's Torrin Shirts who squirts ahead, but only for a moment as Arthur is still on that low line. He manages to get back up in front. It's Staub, Bremkamp, White, Briscoe, and Hollinger. Vladelich as well in there with Christopher Height and Keegan Bitzer. That's your top 10. And as we mentioned, it is changing almost by the lap, so you've got to really pay attention and watch that ticker over on the left-hand side, because these names are going up and down this order in just about every 2 laps or so. You can go from 8th to 1st. But it does look like Arthur he's really doing a fantastic job out there, just holding this lead. It's no surprise. I mean, he's quite skilled. 52.84 is his I rating. So, I mean, no surprise to see such a skilled driver out there doing well. And speaking of I ratings, racing with him, Torrin Shirts. Oh, and we've got an incident a little bit further back. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Brian Jones for Brian Powell Motorsports spinning around. I see a little bit of damage there to the rear.
Yeah, Jason Conover, heavy hit into Brian Jones right there.
Well, we'll take a look at that one and see if we can tell exactly what took place. Get the chopper view for one. There we go. And it looks like the two just made contact there, heading into the corner. It's tough to say whose fault it was because it looks like Brian was drifting up. But either way, pretty much a self-contained incident. I did see one other car getting into him, though.
Yeah, that was the 21 of Jason Conover. Just nowhere to go. He picked a lane, went with it, and just piled into him.
We'll see what that looked like from on board with Conover. Conover sees him spin into the low side. Like Days of Thunder, you're supposed to just drive right into the smoke. Well, fortunately, that one didn't work out so well, and as a result, a plume of smoke coming out from the rear of Jason Conover as well. So a number of these drivers headed down pit lane, as you can see, and we've got, let's see, a lot of the rear end of the field now coming in. So we got Vincent Arthur, Martin Plute, Brian Jones, Jason Brewer, David McGuire, Cody Reeder, and Jason Conover now into the pits. Actually, Jason's been there for a little bit getting that damage repaired. So
exactly what I thought would happen. It kind of happened. I said that the guys running for a championship are going to stay out here if a caution happened close to the end of the stage. And the first 5 are all points drivers and all rookies here.
Very interesting. Indeed. See all of those rookies up there in the front. This is some positioning because, again, we've got, 4 laps probably from when we come back from green until the end of stage 2. So, again, it's a question. Do you want to go up there and really fight for those points for the end of stage 2? Or do you want to hold on and maybe give yourself a little bit of breathing room and maybe not get swept up in a big incident heading into the win for stage 2? And take a look at possibly getting the overall victory here at the end of 135 laps. So we'll watch on here. We'll be right back in just a moment as we'll be going green. Welcome back live here on VirtualRacing.Network. Once again, so great to have you joining us here as we are watching the NORA Truck Series 2023's third round here at Atlanta. It's been a very interesting race thus far. We're looking to see who's going to take stage number 2 as we've got just about 4 laps remaining. Just stepping on that loud pedal, it's Torrance Shirts and Mark Bremkamp who lead this one back to green. Torrance there out front and looking good so far, but he's gonna have that lead swallowed up there. You can see Andrew Staub there poking his nose out there. Mark Bremkamp comes along on the high side and he steals that lead for BS Motorsports. But look at that red and white vehicle just behind. That's Sean Briscoe. He started the race in the lead on pole position, and magically he's come right back through, now finding himself right back there at the front. Is he going to possibly try to make a move and take the second stage here? Find out in just a moment. Torrance Shirts led us back to the green flag, is now slid back into third. It looks like Briscoe now making that move on the outside.
Yeah, we're coming to get the white flag, so we're going to see these guys get racy again here this lap.
White flag in the air. Bombardi, the flag man for stage number 2. You see everybody getting real racy, real dancy with these trucks. Who's going to try to take it here? Bremkamp holding a pretty good advantage out there. It's Schertz and Briscoe just behind, side by side. Gladelich, Slauson, and Stab just behind. And it's tough to say. Outside line looks strong. That's where Briscoe is. Bremkamp on the inside. That 14 of Gladelich there as well. And it will be at the line. Briscoe, who goes from pole position to
win stage 1 and 2.
Winning stage 1 and taking stage 2. Just magically putting that Capital Motor Club machine in the right place at the right time. That's some good stuff, Christian.
Yeah, if you're looking for a favorite to pull for, I mean, you got to go with Sean Briscoe at this point. He's getting himself in the right position at the right time.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to recover as well. We'll watch these drivers. Some of them make some good stops. We'll be right back after this and pick up the green flag for the remainder of this race. Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome back to Atlanta, round number 3 of the NORA Truck Series 2023. It's been a fascinating race thus far, high speed stakes here in Atlanta, and it was, of course, none other than Briscoe who's taken 2 straight stage wins. Will it be he who takes all 3 tonight and the grand prize of the race victory? Well, it'll be David McGuire and Cody Reedy who will bring us back to that green flag on lap number 63. McGuire out to another one of those sizable leads. Reeder in second, Briscoe in third, Bremkamp in fourth. That's how they'll sort themselves out here as we get going. We've got a lap bar that is up high on the track. Cars going to have to work their way around, but it's like majority of them managed to do so.
And Cody Reeder, he's going to want the lead as long as possible. He was in the championship for last year. This is his first race this season. Missed the first 2 races, but he's here tonight.
And he's here with some authority. One of our independents in the field. You always got to, I mean, there's a few, don't get me wrong. It's not like the whole field is with teams, but still, when you look at some of these teams, 4 or 5 drivers deep, you really got to feel for some of these independents that are doing this by themselves out there. But still, Cody Reeder, one of the independents, and I say that, but 4 of the top 5 right now, or excuse me, 3 of the top 5 are independents. David McGuire, Todd Schneider, and Cody Reeder, all independents. And actually, 2 of our top 5 are rookies. Actually, 3 of our top 5 are rookies. Briscoe, McGuire, and Bremkamp, all rookies at the end of the series. So interesting stuff at the front of this field, but either way, 12 cars fighting it out for first position at the moment. With Briscoe, hey, that famous red and white car for Capital Motor Club, he's already had so much success here tonight, and he's back up there in the front, trying to go after that top position from Cody Reeder.
And someone to look for. 3 trucks back on that outside. You got Vincent Arthur slowly making his way back up to the front.
Stalking this field for Flatline Motorsport. He's slowly making his way, as you said. That number 3 car, keep your eye on it as he starts to march forward. But it's really, I mean, Christian, I've never seen a race that was anybody's race, so to speak, more than this one. I mean, any one of these cars could come from 10th position with like 2 laps to go and manage to take this victory. As you can see, I mean, we are still, you know, this is the top 23 cars within 2 seconds of each other. So it's like nobody's going anywhere. There is still a lot to play for here tonight.
Yeah, a lot to play for, and a lot of names that we don't usually see up toward the front in NORA that are up there. Todd Schneider, he has an average finish in the league. I don't mean to pick on him, but he's got an average finish of 15, which is the lowest of the drivers who have started more than 40 races. And he's right here in third with a possibility to win.
Well, talk about that for a second, Christian, while we can. Let's say you are Todd Schneider and you're tired of settling for 15th place finishes. You got to do something different, right? You got to get there and play up in front at some point. So do you think there's a little bit of strategy in this to be up in front, maybe to avoid any of these future incidents? What would be the reason to be up there in front as opposed to try to hang back tonight?
You know, I'm not sure, because usually he's the kind of guy that's just relaxed. He's out here for fun, lays in the back and runs around, but clearly he's not here for fun tonight. He's meaning business.
On board with the Schneider 86. He's one of the independents in the field. Let's look on the outside. Don't want to get too close to that wall on entry. We saw that already damage one of the vehicles and cause a massive pile up behind. It's a dance at close to 200 miles per hour that really requires a lot of finesse. If you look at the steering wheel in the hands of Schneider there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not exactly perfectly smooth, but he does seem like he's got it pretty well under control for these corners. I mean, these cars are just dancing around under this draft, though, so you really do have to keep that in mind. Anything could go wrong at any point. Look at that 23 going by there for David McGuire. That thing has seen some better days. It's got scrapes on the right. It's got scrapes on the left. That is one damaged machine, but it's still holding tight up there in third place at the moment. And, oh, they get so close there. Schneider and McGuire, very close. I'll tell you, my heart is just in my throat, and I am not even in that cockpit.
I'm wondering if possibly teams are starting to kind of get together on back from this top 10, kind of trying to line up and get ready for a move, because I saw in practice the top 4 we're all from the same team, has become being in a single car line and a single car draft.
Well, I mean, it works great if you could get everybody together and be by yourself. It's kind of like bicycle race or something. It works fine if it works fine, but the way that it's going here, it's too wide racing, and you know this track will support 3 wide racing at some point. So it's tough to say. I think as much as they may want to get together and lead the front of this one and set themselves up for the end, it may be easier said than done. You know, and speaking of teams, once again, there's 3 of the top 5 are independent drivers. So no matter what, even if one of these teams does want to form up at the front, I mean, they've got to come through these independents first.
Yeah, a lot of independents in this league, and that's just kind of by design. They don't really want to be on a team. They just want to be to themselves and have a quiet Discord, because typically these guys will be in their team Discord and talk throughout the race. Some guys like to have it quiet.
Kind of me. I don't mind being on Discord. I just am not very, you know, I'm an announcer here, but I'm just not very talkative when I'm racing. I stay focused. I don't really like to talk too much. But it just depends on what kind of race it is. If we've been doing the same thing and it feels pretty comfortable, we want to talk strategy. Sometimes it's good to be with some buddies who are up at the front, some people who are in the mid-pack that can kind of let you know what's going on, or maybe one of the major contenders to start to come through the field. They can give you a heads up on that kind of thing. Well, lots of good things can come out.
Sorry to interrupt. Vince and Arthur made a move runner. Oh no!
And
Vince
we've got
and Arthur into the fence.
Numerous trucks into the fence. Todd Schneider involved. Vincent Arthur involved. Now spinning wildly, and that number 3 machine still spinning and bouncing. That truck is going to have to head back to Napa for a bunch of parts. Trevor White already gone back into the pit. Looks like he was involved. Looks like Todd Slauson also involved. That thing is now officially hot and ready. It's seen better days for sure. That number 22 machine is going to have to make some desperate repairs. Not sure exactly where this one started. Did you see the start of this one?
Yeah, it looked like the 3 went to the middle underneath Todd Schneider, and then as he was coming back to enter the corner, he just went a little bit too high and got tagged by Schneider.
But we're looking here. You'll see Vincent Arthur there in the Napa machine in the middle of your picture in the 3 wide. And as you said, he starts to go. I mean, 3 wide is dangerous. We've been talking about it, but he does drift up the track a bit. And, of course, he does catch Schneider there. And around he goes. My goodness, look at that truck fly through the air.
Kind of reminds you of the Austin Dillon crash as he gets up into the catch fence, going 180 to 0 in an instant.
Absolutely. And it looks like the 99 of Timothy Harper had a windscreen filled with that number 3 car as well. You see the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride that Vincent Arthur went on. That was something else to watch that play out here in real time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looked like from Vincent Arthur's point of view as he goes for quite a ride here in this machine. Certainly something else to watch.
You're easily busy.
Whoa. Oh my. Bouncing.
This is when you gotta thank the Lord that this isn't real life, because that was a terrible crash.
Absolutely, and that's why I say take your hands off of the wheel, because you never know this thing might snap around on you. We'll take one more look here from the 99's perspective as he managed to catch Arthur coming through all of this. This is from Timothy Harper's point of view. You can see the incident happening up in front. That flying truck and right into the windscreen there. See another truck up in front having a moment there. Oh, that's the
that'd be the Little Caesars truck,
right? Of that Trevor White, I believe so.
Todd Slauson.
Oh, Todd Slauson. There you go.
Yeah, that's one of my trucks, and that's unfortunate for me there.
Well, they're going to need a whole new set of breadsticks to deliver for tonight. That truck looks like going to need serious repairs. And unfortunately, it's coming out of your pocket, my friend.
I'll have to go over to Vincent and see if I can get some parts from Napa.
Exactly. They've got to be orange colored, though. But Cody Reeder is currently shown in the lead with Sean Briscoe in second at the moment. Bremkamp and Schertz, Staub, and Bitzer, McGuire, Daughtry now up into that top 10. And Harper somehow, I don't know if Harper, maybe, I don't know if Harper maybe got damage.
I think he net coded through him.
He just net coded through.
Oh no, he's got damage. It looks like it. I don't know. The front bumper's a little bit damaged there.
Yeah, we'll take a look here. Can't quite tell from that standpoint. Perhaps if we get on board with Daughtry and look back, we'll feel a little bit of damage on that machine.
The splitter's bent a little bit there in the bottom.
Yeah. Well, as we've seen before, and you can see Daughtry's machine's not looking too hot either, I'll tell you that much. But we are green once again here on lap number 79, and a lot of these cars going to have a little bit of damage on them by the time we get to lap 135, that's for sure. Cody Reeder bringing us back to green over Sean Briscoe, Bremkamp, Schertz, and McGuire, your top 5.
And you can see with all those damaged trucks on the outside lane, just the inside lane flew up ahead. All 5 from the inside lane are happy.
So depending on what time it is in the race and who's with you, you might want to take that inside line. That may be the preferred line. We've seen the outside work a couple of times, but ultimately it does look like that inside line is the way to go. Bremkamp now really making it a push as he now races side by side with the 39 of Briscoe. So just as we were talking about take the outside line or not, and Briscoe and Bremkamp got very close there on entry and still raced pretty close here all the way through turns 3 and 4 and out onto the start finish straight. There, Bremkamp getting that side draft, now trying to work still, and he keeps ebbing and flowing, and just like that, already drifting back here to 3rd place, but he was up there possibly looking at challenging for that lead just a moment ago. So
Reed was using the side draft to kind of pull the what number is Cody Reeder? 85. He was pulling the 85 back by getting right down on his quarter panel, but with him doing that, he's also getting side drafted from the
That's looking back at Briscoe. Briscoe so far some bugs and some rubber on the front of it, but no damage thus far. He's going to try to make a little bit of bump draft happen. Perhaps not. What do you think about bump drafting at a track like this?
You got to do it right. If you are on the left side of the bumper, that truck in front of you is going around.
Well, either way, some drivers, whether they want to or not, are trying to do a little bit of bump drafting out there. And causing themselves possibly a little bit of damage as well. But Reeder doing a great job hanging on to that top spot. Reeder started in 17th position, so once again letting you know that your starting position does not determine at all where you're going to run in the race. But Reeder doing a great job for the independents out there of the world that want to watch on and see the independents take on the big teams. Well, there you go. Reeder out there in front. Looking at some side-by-side racing a little bit further back. We've got Keegan Bitzer and Christopher Height now up into that top 10. He's up 16 positions. Josh Conover up 23 positions from where he started. And he is having a great night there in that iRacing sponsored car. Trying to hang on to the very front group of 7 cars. Reeder, Bremkamp, Briscoe, Schertz, Staub, Bitzer, and Height. Just managing to hang on, and it looks like just behind him is where the next group might be starting to form. Wire, Harper, and Height. And as we mentioned, Harper perhaps taking a little bit of damage there from that previous caution. And I mean, in real life, he might have taken a lot more damage. Unfortunately, net coated through a little bit of that, got out of the way. But back at the front, Cody Reeder still holding on here, and that's kind of a shock. We've been seeing a lot of these drivers being able to get out there and snap that lead, but Reeder doing a heck of a job and still hanging out there. And he's holding off Briscoe, he's holding off Bremkamp. It's a pretty good thing for Reeder right now.
And I think the reason you're seeing that is not necessarily his truck, but it's the truck behind him. Sean Briscoe, very fast truck. He's going to not be aggressively pushing, but he's going to be good at it. And you see on the outside, they're not quite as better as the inside, so he's having a very difficult time to gather any momentum.
Indeed, Bremkamp trying to make it something, but he's holding that outside line, side draft. Gets a little of that side draft, and as you said, he pulls back that 35 KPR Motorsports. Well, it says KPR Motorsports on it, but he's listed as an independent. Either way, Reeder doing a heck of a job here tonight.
Yeah, I think the reason it says independent is he kind of showed up last minute. Didn't really get the time to put his team name in. So
having to wait there. Sure. Well, he's getting the signage out there, that's for sure. NASCAR's working under a lap truck there as they slide through. Just now working on lap number 90 of 135. Once again, I'm Trevor Greenfield. This is Christian Snyder alongside me here in the booth, watching VirtualRacing.Network's live coverage. And we want to say a big thank you out there to Morgan Paviel, proud Trevor Greenfield. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Black Knight Graphic letting us know, come on, Cody Height. Well, there you go. Who is in the number 1 truck? Well, whoever it is, go them, because that is my car. Can't wait to get back in it. That's the Zagarack Gaming. Thank you for checking in with us over on YouTube in the chat room. We do greatly appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to VirtualRacing.Network. You'll get notified of all the upcoming races for all of the NORA. We are the exclusive home of NORA for the 2023 season. So proud to be on board with them. Going to be doing all of the Cup Series as well. And we've got some contact here in the midfield. It was Briscoe making contact just a moment ago. Was that Shirts that he got into? Or was it Height? 33 car of Shirts.
Yeah, Shirts.
My goodness, that was so close. Both of these drivers just hanging on to their cars. Whew. Had my heart in my throat there for a moment, but Briscoe and Shirts back together. And in fact, the number 1 car is Cody Height, as was requested by the YouTube chat room. So we've got an official couple of Cody Height fans out there. And he's doing pretty well. He's hanging in 13th place. He's up 8 position. One of the independents in the field. And we'll see where he's at here at the end of 135. No more short stages. We've still got about 43 laps remaining here in this one. And this is a 100% race, by the way. We didn't quite mention that at the opening. This is and these cars have to squeeze into that lap car. Wow, that was a lot closer than it needed to be. But yeah, this is 100% of the real life truck length, Truck Series length here. So these drivers are in effect putting in the same type of effort that you would be if you were in real life driving one of these crafted trucks. So at the end of this one, 135 laps, you know, your heart rate is up. You've been sweating a lot. You might just need a bio break. You might need to cool down. I mean, this is a lot of effort to put out there and try and stay cool while all this is going on. But Christian, it's starting to break open a little bit, I'm seeing. It looks like a little bit more single file than it was before.
Yeah, I think the reason that happened was that lap car on the outside kind of broke up the outside lane, and then they started to fall backwards, and then at that point it's just, where can I find a hole to get down to the bottom?
Exactly, and also taking a look at those weather stats, 93 degrees now on the track with an 8 mile per hour breeze. One of the things that I did experience here in my truck, and I saw a lot of drivers suffering with this, was once we got about 20 laps or so into a stint, those tires did start to wear a bit. You saw some of the tires start to move around on the track. Now, my racing was about 117 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, so it's quite a bit warmer. But I wonder if we aren't going to start to see that pretty soon. These drivers might start to file into more of a single file procession if this stays green towards the end.
Well, I know somebody who isn't going to be going to the inside, and that's Bremkamp. He is still trying to make this outside lane work. He was about in 5th place, back behind a little contact there. Into the wall, Bremkamp.
Well, commentator's curse, so to speak.
Yeah.
We were just watching him there on the screen, and he got very, very close to, I believe it was Andrew Staub, or was it Christopher Heights? He got extremely close there on entry, and that beautiful metallic machine is now not quite as beautiful as it was just about a lap ago. But he did recover, and now back underway. He's going to have to do a lot of catching up to get back there towards the front. But Cody Reeder, still your leader. Driving there, but Briscoe in 2nd, Staub in 3rd, Heights in 4th, and now we are officially single file here as this field's starting to get a little bit more controlled, a little bit more predictable than it was before. I'm not sure if we're going to get strung out here because of the draft, but at least for this moment, we're seeing these drivers kind of settling into nose-to-tail action as opposed to trying to race too wide. Who will be the first one to try to make that second lane work? We'll find out here before too long. Although these lap cars, as you said, might be a factor here. These drivers trying to make their way underneath these lap cars, and that definitely affecting the outside lane when there is one.
If I can predict someone to try to make the outside lane work, the first person to try it, I'm thinking Josh Conover. He had the strategy of staying in the very back the entire 1st and 2nd stage, and he told me, "Oh, has we got a caution?"
Caution is out, and we see Nick Gillis having an issue. He's already into the pits. Jonathan Daughtry also having a moment. All these drivers now already in the pit. My goodness, that machine has... there's barely any paint job left on that machine. Let's go ahead and back it up. That one's already in action. It looks like Daughtry starts the action up in front.
Yeah,
and
he gets into the wall there,
so,
and then 24, nowhere to go.
Exactly. So let's take a look at this one. Strips up the track into the wall. Looks like a couple of cars making contact there.
I believe that was the one car.
So Gillis, one of them, unfortunately for him, and was it Cody Height? Indeed it was. So the YouTube chat room, sorry to say, Cody Height, Black Knight Graphics, and Zagarak Beaming apologize. Height there having a moment. Does look like he's going to keep it going. I'm not sure if get over and see if Height is able to keep that car. You can see the damage now. Couldn't quite tell from a little bit further back, but it looks like Height having an issue there in that one car that's going to need some serious repair now. So a lot of these drivers have come down pit lane and back underway for a number of them. Schertz, Heights, Bitzer, Conover, George, Harper, Brewer, Bremkamp, Gladelich, and Height, as we mentioned, Hollinger, all these drivers coming in for pit stops. Gillis still sitting on pit road, trying to get that machine fixed. We've got Todd Schneider still sitting on pit road. Actually, I think his night is done. Brian Jones is going to get his lap back here momentarily. Just waiting for the cue to head around, but a couple of laps down at this point. And
yeah, that's huge for him because he was last year's champion and he's the points leader coming into this race. So he's just trying to get any points he can get with all these cars getting out.
Well, and I think is I'm trying to see if Daughtry, there's a number of cars that are positioned ahead of Reeder there. To see the 38 Dorsey, he's going to get a lap back. Trying to see, I think that's Brian Jones as well. Brian's been involved in a number of incidents, and he's going to get his lap back. So,
yeah, Brian should pass Nick Geilis, because before that wreck, he was already crab walking down the straightaway. So his truck was already severely damaged, and then to get in this one, that might be a terminal issue for Nick Geilis, our Daytona winner. So not affecting him necessarily for playoffs, but obviously for points, not a way that Nick wanted this race to go.
No, indeed. For a number of these drivers, it's been survival. I would say this race has been a lot of survival. Some drivers like Briscoe, Staub, not really facing too much adversity, but just about everybody else in this field has been right around an incident that has materialized or has been involved in one of those incidents. And it hasn't been particularly sloppy either. It's sort of been just a little wiggle from a car here or there, touching another one and then getting into the wall. It hasn't been particularly careless driving or anything like that. Just kind of speaking to how difficult it is to keep these cars, these trucks, pointed in the right direction the entire race. They have been dancing around, and a lot more dancing to do here, Christian. We've got just about 31 laps remaining here as we come back to green on lap 103. It is Cody Reeder who brings us back. We're underway here again at Atlanta with Briscoe in second, Staub in third, McGuire in fourth, and Schertz in fifth. Now they'll resume here as we've got just about 30 laps to go. Ooh, we can see some cars having some issues there just a little bit further back. That was I believe that was Schertz and McGuire having an issue. I think McGuire almost lost it there.
Yeah, he went to get in line and wasn't quite clear and almost got turned there. That was close. But the three trucks that are up front have kind of been there all day. You got Cody Reeder, Sean Briscoe. They've kind of been up front. Three trucks that have been
absolutely dominant, and they've been holding on. As I mentioned, there's something to being up at the very front. We have seen a couple of incidents happen in fourth and fifth, etc., but really there's something to being right in the very front, first, second, third, or so. You'll most likely avoid most of those incidents, and that's been kind of the case for Reeder, Briscoe, and Staub, and Schertz as well. Now we're seeing Christopher Height up here into the top five. He's now emerged as a contender for this race win, up 18 positions from where he started. We've got some tight action there in the third row. That Height in that 18 car on the outside, trying to make his truck fit in wherever it can. That red and black machine now solidly up into the top five. He says, "Hello, top five, get out of my way."
Yeah, he said hello to David McGuire's right side, and that's not the first truck that's done it. If you look at his truck, he's made contact with a lot of trucks tonight, but just kind of drifting up the track and touching them a little bit. So far, he's been surviving, and he's in the top 10 here.
I'm sure that McGuire would be just as surprised as you are with the amount of times that he's been involved in contact, but you've only got so many lives if you're a cat, and got so many lucky horseshoes to play. Before too long, they may come a calling, and the 18 does now slide down in front. Heights playing that positioning game pretty well, kind of looking in the middle. And the Hinder tractors on there. This machine is getting wherever it wants to in that top 5 or 6 positions, bouncing up and down the track. There's another car that's been, another truck that's been having a great run here tonight. Now in that 4th position, trading positions with Admiral Staub. There is going by on the inside. It's Norton Schertz for VS Motorsports. They're having just a fantastic run, and up 9 positions from where he qualified as well. So it's just 26 laps to go. Picking them off very quickly here, but a number of these drivers you'd have to bet on are the ones that have been up front the whole time. Reeder, Staub, Briscoe, and now Heights, but Schertz has been there. And you know what? Bremkamp has managed to recover. He's right back there in 6th place. So you can't count him out either. Conover up into 9th place, up 22 positions. And here's Matthew George. We haven't been talking about him at all for Flatline Motorsports. Now up there in the top 10 in the 43. So do you think we're going to start to see some of these names we haven't been talking about tonight and start to jump forward?
Oh, absolutely. We had those guys that chose to stay very far back in the field through stage 1 and 2 that are moving up through the front. Josh Conover making a run on the outside. He started clear in the back and stayed there until the first lap of stage 3 here. And now he's trying to push into the top 10. I think he's just barely inside the top 10.
Well, Brian Jones, Nick Geilis were the first two to take victory here. Who will it be tonight at Atlanta? It could be either one of the top 5, and it would be a brand new name. Reeder, Staub, Heights, Schertz, Briscoe, they all want to put their name up there into that win column. And Briscoe, of course, already winning the first 2 stages of tonight's race. Will be able to take the one that really counts, the one that pays the most points. That's where you want to be at the end of this race, is in victory lane. Not only do you get the big virtual trophy and the admiration of all of your fans and your co-drivers out there, but you get all of those points, and that's what matters for that championship at the end of the season. Reeder leading right now with 22 laps remaining. You see some of these drivers, including Briscoe and McGuire, getting down there onto the apron as they head into the corner. McGuire in that bright green machine, the number 23, one of the independents in the field. And again, I'm just going to bring it up again, that 3 of the top 5 are still independents in this field. So if any teams think they're going to get up there like in games right now to own the top of this field, it's not happening yet. But we're watching to see if anybody else is going to poke their nose up there. Bremkamp now sticking his nose around the outside. He's been fighting really hard to get back in this mix. And you were saying it before, he loves that outside line. Well, if he can avoid touching that wall, he'll manage to possibly be the first one to get up there and hold himself up there in the front on that outside lane. But so far, the outside lane has not been the preferred lane. It has been that inside lane. And that's the one that Reeder and Heights and Briscoe are running in right now.
Yeah, this is the first time that Andrew has jumped to the outside to try to make it work. He's just kind of been relaxed on the inside lane about the second, third truck, just staying down there. But it's time to cash the check. Now he's on that outside.
He is trying to push for that lead. He wants to cash that check, as you said. We've got Jason Brewer now coming into the pits. Must be having an issue with that machine getting out of 13th place. But Staub now trying to get that position. He's doing as much side drafting as he can on Heights. Heading down the backstretch. I don't know if, I mean, there's something special happening on that outside lane occasionally. I can't put my finger on it, but there is some advantage that comes about. It just depends on whose truck it is that's trying to take advantage of it. And now Staub all the way up into the lead. He's got to work around that lap car. It could get quite tight there.
David McGuire touched the apron back toward around 7th place, and now he is falling back. He got the real side of this.
McGuire, as you see, with all that damage having to recover now. And that's not so great with just 18 laps to go. That green machine is going to have to go a long ways to catch back up to this field if we can get another caution. He dropped all the way back to the tail end of this 8th lap now in 12th place, about 2 seconds off of the final car. So McGuire kind of out of this one. That's going to leave us about 11 cars, that have a chance at this one, but that number is slowly winding down from 12 as this one starts to get a little bit crazy. Cody Reeder and Christopher Heights now your top two. Andrew Staub and Sean Briscoe now just back into fourth. Mark Bremkamp up there in fifth. Shirt and Bitzer now racing it out for that sixth position. Conover, though, up there into that eighth spot. Go ahead, Christian.
I think the winner is going to come from the top 8 to 9 right here. These 9 trucks that are in this group. I think Timothy Harper and his drivers behind him, I think they've lost touch now at this point. So I think there's only 9 trucks still in this at this point if it stays green.
If it stays green, indeed. You can see some of these drivers starting to drop off. Harper there in the 99 with the 38 behind him. The 38 is not on that lead lap. It's actually quite a few laps down. That's Cody Dorsey. But back up here in front, as you mentioned, it's about a 9-truck battle here. Reeder, Staub, Heights, Bremkamp, Briscoe, Schurz, Bitzer, Conover, George. That is basically the front group.
And Harper just proved me wrong. He just ran the fastest lap and was already caught back up to Josh Conover and Matthew George there.
Well, that's just proving that draft is incredibly effective. Glad you're keeping an eye on that speed, because he is in fact turning fantastic laps. 30.83 that time by to the leaders 31.20, and this time by everybody doing a 31.35 at the front, with Gladowich doing a 30.80. So we now have
trucks are starting to get wiggly.
12 cars in the front as everyone starts to wiggle. We're getting wiggly here in the booth. And we've got 13 laps remaining in this one. We've got one car up high there.
That's wide contact.
75.
33 and 5.
So the 5 of Bitzer and the 33 of Schurz making contact. I think Staub started to cause an issue there as he started to fall back there for Full Send Motorsports. And I know you wanted to see Staub up there in the front. That's your team, Christian, Full Send, but he's now drifting back.
I think his mindset was he's starting to get a little loose. He's still kind of inexperienced. He just started iRacing last year, to give you a little background on him. So he's still a little bit inexperienced. He didn't want to cause anything, so he just dropped to the back here of the outside.
Well, it's discretion's the better part of valor. Live to fight another day. No point settling for 20th place when you could have 11th just as easy. So definitely take yourself out of it. Don't cause a massive pileup, and give yourself a chance to fight again here for this last 10-lap shootout. As we are still green here, just 10 laps remaining. And who will it be in victory lane at the end of this 10-lap stint? It's going to be Reeder, Height, Bremkamp, Briscoe, and Schurz, your top 5 at the moment. Reeder has been doing a solid job here in this third stage. He's held most of the lap in the lead. Height has been up there. Bremkamp has gone backwards and come all the way back forward. He loves that outside lane, so watch for him on the outside. Briscoe, he won the first 2 stages here tonight. Is he going to be able to somehow get that truck, number 78, or excuse me, the number 39, up there into the front? And we've got a truck going sideways.
Oh, man. That was scary.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know who that was.
That was somebody just in front of the leaders, one of the last cars.
I believe that was the 31, Michael Shield.
Oh, my goodness. Well, either way, I guess no harm, no foul. But back here at the front, Reeder, Heights, Bremkamp, Briscoe, Schurz, your top 5. Just 8 laps remaining here, and who is it going to be? We watch on to find out. It's starting to come down to crunch time. You got to get your truck in the right place at the right time. I don't know if you want to be in the lead at the end of this with that draft. I don't know if you want to be in third. I don't know if you want to go the outside, the inside. There's no real safe place to be. We've got some trucks. Oh, I see one of the trucks having a smoke coming down through. I think that was Andrew Staub for Colson. He did. He got loose there. and now corrects it. He went down through the infield there for a moment at that incident there just a second ago. This was Staub getting sideways. Great job.
He chased the truck way up.
Sure did. And I don't know how he kept it going forward and sideways through the grass. Took him the entire length of the D part of the infield and finally gets it back going again. So Staub back under control. And he'll stay on the lead lap, but all the way back into 11th. This is the money time now, though. We got Barney the flag man up in the flag stand. He's going to give him the high five this time by. That means 5 more to go here at Atlanta for round number 3 of NORA Trucks 2023 season. It's Reeder, Heights, Briscoe, Bitzer, and Bremkamp in top 5.
Briscoe jumping to the top, trying to make it work with Bremkamp.
Sean Briscoe takes a look to the high side. Is he going to be able to get it done? Gets that side draft. He gets the push from behind. He's trying to take Cody Reeder on the outside. Nobody's been able to really own that outside yet and take the front. If it's going to be anyone, it could be Briscoe, who's already managed to take a couple of positions. We see some real jockeying around at the back of this booth. But Briscoe taking the lead, edging into the corner. Cody Reeder takes it back on the exit. And this one is still far from settled. 10 cars have a chance at this one.
I tell you who I'm pulling for. I'm pulling for that number 5, Keegan Bitzer. He has not won yet in this league, and he's been here for 5 years, so that would be a feel-good story if we see that 5 in victory lane.
A number of these drivers would be feel-good stories. A number of these drivers have not won here, at least this season or last season. But Cody Reeder and Sean Briscoe are at the front of this one, and it is like the start of the race.
Oh, trouble.
We've got one car around.
That's a caution.
And in fact, the caution will come out.
This just got interesting. Hit here. We get 4 tires.
You think 4 tires would give you the advantage? I don't know if you got enough time to make it work.
Well, we see these guys getting loose. You saw Andrew; he's been up front all race, and then he gets loose, and you're seeing all these guys just very kind of not necessarily loose, but washing up the track. So if you get those 4 tires, that's not going to happen. So they're going to be able to make more aggressive moves. So it's kind of a hit or miss. You want track position, or do you want those tires to make the moves?
That's why these drivers get paid the big bucks, and I'm sitting up here in the booth, and you're the team owner. I don't know, if you had to give the call right now to your driver, what would you be telling him? Come in to get the 4 tires or stay out there? Or does it matter what position you're in? Do you want to hold track position?
I think it matters with position. With my driver, I'm hoping he pits here because he had that moment through the grass. So 4 tires and kind of a reset would be good for him. But these guys who are 1st through 7th, go for it. Might as well at this point, especially if you're not going for a championship or you already have a win, which both of our winners are actually laps down. So all these guys have not won this season, and they're all hungry. So that's why they're staying out.
So we will wait to see what everyone decides to do. We should get this one green without any sort of green-white checker, right? Go green with 1 to go.
No, we're already in green-white checkered.
We are in green-white checkered. Okay, so yeah. Green-white checkered at the moment. We'll get 3 laps to go. Green and then white and then checkered flag for these drivers. So really that first lap is all about just getting the trucks up to speed. Second lap is where the money is made, but you got to think about where you want to position yourself on that first lap. And do you want to hold low? Do you want to hold high? Well, you got the cards that you've got. You've been dealt the hand that you've been dealt. The question is, what do you want to hold? What do you want to throw back? And how aggressive do you want to be? Can you bluff? These are all the questions you want to ask here in this green-white checkered here at Atlanta. This is almost like Las Vegas. You're gambling on what you're going to do here. But I'm not...
I see a couple of them coming in, I think.
I've got Hollinger in, taking...
Here comes one.
Tires.
The 1 car.
So Cody Height bringing it in. Was he on the lap? No, he was a lap down. So he's not in contention for this win. But either way, for the Cody Height fan club there in the YouTube chat room, we'll give you a little bit more screen time. And it's always good to get your feedback there in the YouTube chat room. We do appreciate everybody checking in with us tonight. And we'll look forward to continuing some more of this great coverage the rest of this season here on VirtualRacing.Network. Once again, we'll make sure that we get all of these races listed for you. You'll be able to pop in and get notifications. Just make sure you subscribe to VirtualRacing.Network going forward and click notify, and you'll get notified that it's coming up. But Cody Reeder has been solid. I mean, would you bet against Cody Reeder? I know Sean Briscoe's right there alongside, but he's been solid all night. Would you say Bremkamp? Who do you think the favorite is here? Do you think Briscoe can take it from the outside?
I think Briscoe can, if the circumstances are right, because we saw him put himself into a position to win stage 1. We saw him put himself into a position to win stage 2, and now with 2 laps to go, he's right there on the outside.
Well, this is it. It's for all the marbles, the green-white checker. Green is in the air, and we are back underway here. Barney the Flagman says 2 more to go here at Atlanta. Cody Reeder in command, and Briscoe has kind of fallen back on that start. He didn't get a great start. Height now into second. Briscoe back on the outside. They're going to try to capture Cody Reeder here and pull that trap. Here comes Briscoe.
Big run.
Big run down into turn number 3. Briscoe, can he clear Reeder? He might take the lead for a moment, but I don't think so. It's Height there tucking in behind Reeder.
White flag.
The white flag in the air. Just one more remains, and this one is going to be in the book. Is it going to be Cody Reeder for his first victory of the season? Briscoe, now Height. We've got multiple cars involved. Much of the top 10 now taken out of this one. It's going to be Christopher Height and David McGuire, who recovers in the green machine. Into second place, Josh Conover comes out of nowhere in third. And it's Christopher Height who is going to take victory here for the Independents at round number 3, Atlanta, for the NORA Truck Series. My God.
Well, we said it could get wild, and it did.
That's as wild as it gets. That was absolute insanity. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look here. We're going to back it up and see if we can tell exactly what happened. I see Matthew George having a crash here, and I where did this one begin? Was it with...
It started right in front. It started with Briscoe and Reeder. I think Heights bumped Reeder and brought him a little sideways, and then went up into Briscoe, and then it was a melee from there.
That's what it looks like to me. We'll take a look from on board with Height here and see what this looks like. Get this one queued up here. So Heights may have been the culprit, as we can see how close he was running there to Reeder. We're watching at full speed. Tell us.
Well, got on the right side, uneven bump, and the outside wall. Wild ride. Matthew George. My goodness, he went out of the park.
Take a look at Matthew George. Now, once again, not for the faint of heart. If you suffer from seizures or dizziness easily, that's what's away right now. Gets it sideways up into this wall, and up he goes into the stratosphere and out of the park. The number 43, unfortunately for him. I mean, we laugh because, we're watching, but nevertheless, that did not play out the way that a lot of these drivers wanted to. How about Sean Briscoe? This was how it looked from Sean's point of view. I mean, he had everything to play for. He was there outside, and, I mean, you know that neither one of those contenders up front thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, he had no idea that was coming. He was just kind of along for the ride there. Probably scared him a little bit with the truck coming right across his nose there. But Christopher Height's going to pull out the win here. Maybe not in the greatest way that he wants, but the win's a win for him.
Well, Height tentatively listed as taking that win. Be right back in just a moment, and we'll have your final results. Stay tuned. And we're back here at Atlanta. You saw it here on VirtualRacing.Network live, a wild finish as we saw Christopher Height do what it took, I guess, to get up there into victory lane. He'll take the victory tentatively, at least for now. Heights, your winner here at Atlanta. Second place going to David McGuire. Third to Josh Conover, the administrator, the owner of the NORA Truck and Cup Series. So great to see him manage to survive into third. That's your podium for tonight. Keegan Bitzer there in fourth place. Terrific run for him, the Flatline Motorsports machine. Timothy Harper for Harper Motorsports. He was running off of that lead group, just trying to survive, and survive he did. He held on to fifth. That's where he started, but hey, fifth is good on a night like tonight, I would say. Torrin Shirts, he was up there in that top three group for a lot of tonight, but he'll settle for sixth given what everyone else went through up there in the front. Jacob Vladelich for JRC Race Team finishing in seventh place. Sean Briscoe for Capital Motor Club there in eighth. And you gotta really feel bad for Briscoe. He won two of the stages. He was in perfect position to take the victory there at the end, and unfortunately that incident comes out and ruins his final points of the night. But that's the way it rolls when you get out there in races. It happens in real life, happens on iRacing as well. Brimkamp in ninth for BS Motorsports. 10th will go to Cody Reeder, the independent, and Cody had nothing to do with that incident there at the end. Cody had played it so well there in the third stage. He'll have to settle for a top 10, and he knows he can taste that victory, and he's probably seething right now. I'd love to get a word with Cody Reeder and find out what his thoughts are, but I'm sure there would be a lot of expletives involved. 11th place will go to Andrew Staub. Cody Height, the Cody Height fan club there in YouTube. He'll settle for 12th. 13th to Matthew George. Had one heck of a ride earlier. Zach Hollinger, 14th. Brian Jones in 15th. Jason Brewer in 16th. Shane Weinmiller in 17th. Jonathan Daughtry, 18th. Nick Geilis in 19th. Cody Dorsey in 20th. You can read the rest there for yourself and how they finished. But we're going to take a look over into our interview room and see if we can catch up with our third place finisher, Christian. I think you'll have a chance to talk with Josh Conover here in our victory circle.
Hey Josh, congratulations on your third place finish. Tell us how that night went for you. We saw you kind of hang in the back the first two stages, not really in the top 10, and then out of nowhere you're up here in the front at the end. So tell us how your race went there.
Well, I didn't really have a choice there in the beginning. We had engine damage from lap one, so kind of just rode with what we had, and if I could have somebody behind me that was full power, I could hold the draft. So I had Matt and Keegan with me, and then it just kind of, once I got back into the back, I kind of had the mindset of okay, well, I'm not here to make friends now, so I'm just gonna get what I can. And then we had the caution late, and I kind of figured I was gonna lose, I think I was 8th or so, lose my spots trying to get through the gears, because it just took basically the green-white checkered distance to get up to speed, and then I started wrecking, and then I came out and I was second, and then David got me to finish third. So I will definitely take it because I despise this place with all my heart.
Yeah, I know you do. You talked to me earlier about this place, but third place, obviously a great finish for you. And I didn't see the incident on the first lap, so we kind of thought that it was on strategy that you were back there. But is there anybody you want to give a shout out to or thank for the race?
Yeah, just the first lap deal is kind of nobody's fault, really. It's just, I think, inexperience from one of the younger drivers that I'm trying to help out and kind of get up to speed. And they were all wrecking, obviously, and sliding down the track, and he kind of locked it down, which, isn't really a bad thing, but just kind of locked it down more than he should have, and I just had nowhere to go, rear-ended him, and just as well as anybody else, the truck damage model, I was down, I think, 80 RPM with 3 minutes of damage, got it fixed, lost my laps, and ended up only being 40 RPM down. But now that we're at, Atlanta Dega or, Daylana or whatever you want to call it, it's any RPM is not good. But yeah, just like I said, just misfortune, I guess is what we'll call it. But now you guys for the broadcast, I know everybody was thrilled with what Trevor did for Phoenix last week with Cup, so I know, like I said, how I feel about this place. It's not on my top 5 for sure now, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. I know a lot of the guys that are expected to run tomorrow are kind of already looking ahead to that, and hopefully telling guys to calm down and log some laps before we start having messes like we did tonight. But yeah, for how it started, I'll take a third for sure.
Well, congrats again on the third place finish, and obviously with your first 2 races, this is a major improvement. So good luck the rest of the season, and good luck next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week's a little bit better. It'll be our first road course race with the new stage procedures, so no cautions for the stage break. So hopefully we can get some stage points, because that's going to hurt tonight, just having no stage points. But long-ish season, so I don't know. We'll click off some laps and see what happens, I guess.
All right, and that's third place, Josh Conover in the 17. I wasn't able to catch up with second place. Couldn't find him down there. So, Trevor, you want to grab the winner, or do you have anything to say for Josh or talk to Josh?
Well, we appreciate the good words there, Josh. It was quite thrilling from up here in the broadcast booth. Our heart was in our throats there the entire race, but pretty awesome stuff to see. You were hanging out there in the top 10, a little bit further back, and we thought, well, he's hanging off that lead pack, like maybe he might be in position to do something here tonight. And lo and behold, you were in the perfect place to take advantage there. Congratulations, Josh. Beautiful. It doesn't matter. A lot of people were playing Survivor out here tonight, and you did fabulous. You did the best job of most of them. Although I do have to say, David McGuire, he actually had a couple of spins. He managed to recover from that and get all the way back up there. So beautiful run, though, from yourself, Josh.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know I kind of touched on it a little bit, but like I said, I know a lot of guys were thrilled with what you did last week, Trevor. Just, great coverage. And I know tonight we had a lot of cautions and kind of hurts the production, but, hopefully, with Chris having Chris with you tonight and stuff, it kind of helped out when we drove like knuckleheads, and hopefully put on a decent finish at least. Chris said it, and I've said it numerous times, that what they did to this place, especially on iRacing, I'm just not a fan. I'd rather go back to Daytona or go to Dega or something, but
it's sketchy AF, that is for sure. These trucks were dancing around out there all night long, but Josh made it a heck of a race that you got yourself up there into third. You certainly know what you're doing behind the wheel. Pleasure to have you here, Josh. We'll talk to you again next week, my friend, or possibly tomorrow night here on the broadcast. You got to get up there in the podium.
I hope so. I truly do. I like getting interviewed every now and then, and wasn't starting the year out so good. So hopefully we can get a stage win tomorrow, or like you said, finish podium, and talk to you again.
My pleasure. Well, thank you so much, Josh. We'll see you tomorrow night, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
That was Josh Conover joining us there from third place. He's just magically emerged in third place there. Fabulous job by him. So let's go ahead and get get a chance. Now we can go ahead and grab David McGuire, who had perhaps one of the most amazing rides of the night. We thought David was all the way back off of the lead group. He was done and dusted. There was no way for him to get up there with that green-white checkered. He somehow managed to be in the right place. And then, David, talk us through, how did you manage to survive that wreck and manage to keep that truck clean enough? I mean, certainly there's lots of scrapes on it from the whole night, but you still ended up getting second place. Congratulations.
It's St. Patty's Day weekend. I was just drinking my beer. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I was through the wreck there.
Indeed. So, I mean, you just, Days of Thunder just pointed through the smoke and hope that you end up all the way through it. Either way, racing as an independent in the field, you didn't have the help of a team to let you know and help you to form up there at the front. But you had that green machine all the way up there in the front looking great through a lot of the run tonight. You gained 13 positions and all the way up there into second at the end. What was your take on Atlanta tonight? What do you think of the reconfiguration of Atlanta? Is it, do you like it? Is it as sketchy as it looks from the broadcast booth? What was your take on tonight?
This whole week when I was running fixed through the iRacing series, I did not get a pole through the whole week. I was on pole every single time, and this was just a completely different race. The wheel felt completely different, but I don't know. It was fun.
It was.
I don't even know what to say.
Just one of those speechless nights. What a fabulous drive though, to keep the truck pointed straight. I mean, again, you know, a couple of those times that you got knocked sideways, very well could have that could have been the end of your night and end up sitting on pit road with more damage. But you managed to keep it pointed straight, managed to survive that final melee, and make your way up there into second. Anyone that you'd like to thank before we move on tonight, David?
Just my buddy Corey Raboyne in the race series too. Here, he's kind of my unsung teammate, so always fun.
Unfortunately, he had a little bit of a difficult night as well. Raboyne ending up all the way back in 29th position. But either way, fabulous run by yourself, David. You did keep it pointed right, and at the end, you were in the right place at the right time. Congratulations on a second place here tonight. Hopefully that means good things for your future.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
You too, my friend. That's David McGuire from second place. And now I think Christian has a chance to catch up with our winner, Christopher Height.
Well, I'll let you go ahead and take it.
How's it going?
Christopher, my friend.
With it.
Yes, thank you so much, Christian, for that. So, Christopher, congratulations on victory here. It was you up there in the top 5 for the whole part of that the third stage, and you were running a solid race in the Mahindra 18 Ford vehicle. You know, the thing is, though, that there at the very end, can you talk us through what happened on that final lap and how you ended up in victory lane?
Yeah, my whole point was to push Cody to make a move on out of 4, but I guess coming out of turn 2, I thought I was square enough to get him, and just caught his bumper, and I feel horrible for wrecking him on that though.
Well, you know, it doesn't really take away from the fact that you had a fabulous night. You were running at the front. It must have felt really good here. A lot of drivers talking about how difficult it was here at Atlanta and how the trucks wanted to move around. Did that play a role in it tonight? Was it difficult to time your passes? Was it difficult to make a decision as far as when you wanted to jump to the outside, when you wanted to be on the inside? What was your take on tonight in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's definitely tough trying to figure out which row you want to be in and when you can move up or down. Especially coming to the last lap, my thought was if I could get just past the outside row coming out of 4 to make a move there, because me and Cody always seem to be just slightly ahead on that corner. But yeah, the trying to figure out which lane you wanted to drive was a difficult thing.
You chose the inside line for that last stint. It did look like you were lined up to take a podium position anyway. Did it feel like you wanted to be in front for tonight? Was that a strategy decision to run up front in the very front for the whole of the third stint as opposed to hanging back a little bit? We saw that worked for Josh Conover, who managed to avoid the incident there at the end. But was it a strategic decision for you to run all the way at the very front, or was that just because the truck was feeling so good tonight?
Nah, that was kind of just went with what was going good, because my other teammates on Harbor Motorsports, they all kind of hung out in the back and were trying to avoid the wrecks and then slowly making their moves up. And I kind of went against them, which I feel bad, but it obviously paid off a little bit tonight.
It did, in fact, pay off. You managed to take victory here at Atlanta. Anybody that you'd like to say thanks to before we move on?
Definitely want to say thank you to Josh and everybody for putting on the league, you guys for doing the broadcast, Timmy, Cody, everybody, Zach, John, the other Cody on our team, and definitely thank my wife for supporting me.
Well, you've done a fabulous job here in the number 18 car, number 18 truck, the Ford. We had you marked down as independent. I think we'll have to correct that before our next broadcast. But thoughts on next week, Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix. You're a road racer. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your take?
I'm excited for it. I would say, a less than average road racer driver, but I still have fun with it, especially in the trucks. So I'm excited to go. I'm not looking to run up front or anything, but just trying to log in some more laps.
There you go. Well, you won't have a chance to avoid the big one next week. That won't quite work out, but you'll have a chance to put in plenty of laps, and we'll see you next week, Christopher. Congratulations on your victory tonight, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. That's Christopher Heights. He did it tonight. He took victory here in the NORA Truck Series 2023. It was quite a crazy final lap there, Christian. And I think he was the first one to say it, that he was very sorry that it didn't quite work out the way that he had intended. But either way, he finds himself in victory lane. And, for Heights, McGuire, and Conover, Christian, you got to say, this was a night of survival. And McGuire and Conover ending up on the podium. I mean, they have really just that final incident to thank for them ending up in second and third. So what are your final thoughts on tonight before we close out tonight's broadcast?
Well, I would actually say it was a really good race, in contrary to what Josh was saying. I know he's usually down. He wants every lap green, and I think every owner does. But this was a fantastic race. When he goes back and watches it, he's going to be impressed with how these guys drove. We may not have seen what was going on in the back with him, but we saw an amazing race up toward the front, constant lead changes throughout the entire top 15 all night. And you said a crazy last lap. Crazy doesn't even begin to describe that. That was an insane last lap, and Josh and David, like you said, right place, right time.
Absolutely, right place, right time. Congratulations to Christopher Heights. Second place to David McGuire, and third to Josh Conover, and everyone else who managed to finish in the top 10. It was a wild evening, filled with a lot of thrilling battles, and of course, thank you so much to you, Christian Snyder, for joining me here in the booth. We'll look forward to having you any night that you can join us. Hopefully, you'll be here next week, right?
Yeah, I will absolutely try to be there.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us tonight here on VirtualRacing.Network. As always, stay tuned tomorrow night, same channel, same place. We'll be having the NORA Cup Series, and you'll find that race already listed on YouTube. You can go ahead and click the notify bell for that. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. On behalf of Christian Snyder and the entire administration staff here of the NORA Truck Series and all the competitors, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time here on VirtualRacing.Network. So long, everybody.